What if I told you that cutting her off isn't the punishment you think it is? You think silence will break her, that going no contact will echo in her soul and flip the script. But here's the truth most men never hear. She's already seen. It may be she even expected it. No contact might stop the noise, but it doesn't dismantle her ego. It doesn't reverse the roles. It doesn't make her sit in regret. You're here because you gave her everything, your loyalty, your time, your presence, your heart. And when she left, she didn't just walk away. She left you questioning your own worth. That's not just a wound. That's your awakening. This isn't about playing games or making her jealous or begging for another chance. This is about becoming the man whose silence isn't a reaction. It's a revelation. The man whose presence is no longer accessible because he's leveled up so far that no explanation is needed. This is stoic blessing, and today you don't just walk away, you rise. You see, you're not grieving her. You're grieving the fantasy you created, the idealized version of her, the one you believed in, the one who seemed to understand your soul, maybe even promised forever. But that version, it lived in your mind. What she actually showed you, the mixed signals, the silence, the sudden coldness, wasn't love. That was ego. And every time you scroll back through old texts or replay the best moments, you're not holding on to her. You're holding on to the illusion. You're feeding a lie that says she was irreplaceable. That lie is your cage. And every time you relive it, you keep her power alive. You keep the pedestal standing. But here's the truth. She wasn't your soulmate. She was your mirror. And in that reflection, you saw all the parts of yourself that were willing to overlook red flags just to feel chosen. You loved the potential. You romanticized the chaos. You respected your emotions more than your own boundaries. That ends now. You have to burn the illusion, because in those ashes, you'll find clarity. You'll find power. You'll find the version of yourself that no longer begs to be seen. Now understand this, no contact is the bare minimum, it's the starter move. Any man can delete, block, or ghost. That's not power, that's default. Real power, it's becoming emotionally unreachable. Not just physically out of reach, but mentally unshakable. No more posts meant for her eyes. No more quotes laced with pain. No more subtle digs on your story, hoping she notices. If she can still feel your emotional pulse, if she knows you're still watching, reacting, hurting, then she still holds the strings. And a stoic man cuts every one of them. You stop checking her page. You stop asking mutual friends how she's doing. You stop playing chess in your head trying to calculate if she misses you. You reclaim your inner stillness, because that's what she can't handle. Not the silence itself, but the silence with no residue. No energy, no reaction. That's when she begins to spiral. That's when the ego cracks. When she can no longer read you, control you, or guess what you're feeling. That unknown becomes your weapon. And you become the mystery she never solved. You must master the void. Not fear it, not numb it, master it. Because the void is where most men collapse. They try to fill the silence with distractions, with other women, with validation, with ego-fueled flexing. But that just shows you're still hurting, still reacting, still reaching. A stoic man sits with the silence and turns it into strength. He rebuilds. He doesn't chase closure. He creates completion. The void is your forge. It's where you train. It's where you upgrade. It's where you become unrecognizable. And the next time she thinks of you, it won't be the man who was broken. It'll be the man who rose, quiet, focused, unreachable, and more powerful than ever. If you're done living in the shadow of what could have been, if you're ready to stop feeding an ego that never fed you, then this is your moment. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I rise from rejection, because this journey, it's not about her. It's about you, not her attention, your ascension. And she didn't break you. She revealed where you were unfinished. Now finish the work. Number 3, Master the void. Most men fear the silence. They treat it like a waiting room, something to endure until she reaches out, until she regrets, until she returns. But that mindset, that's weakness disguised as patience. If you want to flip the script, you don't survive the silence. You master it. You turn the void into your domain. A stoic doesn't run from emptiness. He owns it. And here's the secret. The void is where transformation begins. Not in the chaos, not in the arguments, not in the fake closure. It's in the stillness, where there's no distraction, no dopamine, no validation, that you meet your real self. The part of you that's still bleeding, the part that needs rebuilding, the part she never truly understood, and that's where your power lies. Because while she's out distracting herself, chasing attention, pretending she's unbothered, you're going deep, you're stacking discipline, you're getting sharper, colder, more focused. You're turning silence into your gym, your temple, your battlefield. The man who can sit in absolute nothingness, no likes, no texts, no warmth, is the man who becomes everything. Mastering the void means you stop obsessing over when she'll notice and start obsessing over who you're becoming. It means you detach not just from her, but from needing anyone to complete you. You begin to move differently, speak less, observe more. You build in silence so loudly that by the time the world sees you again, no one recognizes who you've become. And she will feel it, not through a message, not through a post, but through the shift in energy, through the absence of your weakness. When you're no longer scanning the silence for signs of her, but using that silence to evolve, that's when you rise. Number 4, the mirror effect. You don't crush her ego by explaining yourself. You do it by becoming a mirror, one she can't avoid, one that reflects every choice she made back at her with brutal clarity. Most men seek closure. They write paragraphs, pour their heart out, hoping she'll finally understand. But that's not power, that's surrender, that's you begging to be validated. And that's exactly what feeds her ego. You want to shake her world? Say nothing. Let the silence speak. Let the consequences echo. When you stop chasing and start reflecting her energy back at her, the entire dynamic changes. She's forced to confront herself. The attention she lived off, gone. The drama she used to manipulate, dead. And now all she's left with is the cold reality of her choices and your absence staring her in the face. You become the consequence, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. You give her nothing to argue with, nothing to twist, nothing to blame, just silence, just distance, just the undeniable truth that she lost a man who changed because of her, not for her. And that's when the self-doubt creeps in. That's when her confidence fractures, because deep down she expected you to fold. She expected you to wait. And when you don't, when you evolve in silence, detached and focused, that's when she feels it. Regret, curiosity, insecurity, and the best part, you didn't force it, you mirrored it. You became the reflection she never wanted to face. Number 5, withdraw all validation. Ego feeds on attention. It breathes in validation, reactions, praise, jealousy, any sign that you still care. That's why even after walking away, she might still orbit. A like here, a story view there, a casual just checking in. Don't take the bait, this isn't affection. This is ego maintenance. She's not asking, do you still love me? She's asking, do I still have control? And this is where most men fail. They validate her without even realizing it. They post thirst traps hoping she watches. They throw subtle shade. They explain themselves to people who don't deserve the explanation. But every move like that proves she still matters. And if she still matters, she still wins. You want to break the pattern? Withdraw all validation. Don't starve her ego with anger. Do it with indifference. Because a stoic man understands that attention is currency. And the moment you stop spending it on someone who already made their choice, That's when your value skyrockets, not just in her eyes, but in your own. You don't crush her with noise. You erase her power with silence. You don't get even. You evolve. You don't react. You rebuild. And by the time she realizes what she lost, you'll be too far gone to even care. Number 6, transmute the pain into power. This pain you're carrying, it's not a curse, it's raw material, and you've got 2 choices. Let it rot you from the inside, or melt it down and forge something unbreakable. Most men sit in the wreckage, replaying the betrayal, asking, why me? But a stoic doesn't ask why. He asks, what now? You want to crush her ego. Turn the pain she caused into the fire that forges the man you were always meant to become. The most dangerous man is the one who turns heartbreak into obsession, not with her, but with self-mastery. The gym, the business, the solitude, the grind. You dive into your evolution with a fire she lit, but she doesn't get the credit. She gets the distance, and the man who comes out the other side, he's colder, sharper, more grounded, because now he doesn't love out of need, he loves out of choice. Transmutation is about making her realize she didn't break you, she built you. Not because she tried to, but because you refused to let the pain win. You took every insult, every lie, every silent treatment, and you used it. You lifted heavier, you moved smarter, you eliminated distractions, you raised your standard. And suddenly, she doesn't just regret what she did, she regrets underestimating you. This isn't just a glow-up. This is elemental. You become a force of nature, calm, focused, unfazed. The kind of man she can't reach anymore. Not because you're hiding, but because you've leveled up to a place where she no longer fits. Number 7, become the man she can't replace. Here's the brutal truth. Most breakups don't hit her right away. She walks away thinking there's better, that you were just another chapter she can flip through, another guy in her rear view. She believes she can replace you like changing outfits. And that's where you make your move. Not with desperation, not with drama, but with transformation. You want to crush her ego? Become the man she can't replace, no matter who she turns to next. That doesn't mean flaunting cash or chasing status to prove a point. That's weak energy. This is about becoming so focused, so centered, so dialed into your purpose that your very energy becomes rare. You move like a man who commands respect without speaking. You carry peace like a weapon and discipline like armor. Think about it. How many men has she known who didn't fold under pressure, who didn't chase her when she pulled away, who didn't beg for attention or try to prove their worth through ego games? Very few. And that's your edge. While she's cycling through the same recycled energy, you become something untouchable, something rare. You're not trying to become someone else. You're becoming the man you always had the potential to be without her. She was the storm that pushed you into clarity. And now, when she scrolls past your name, when someone brings you up in conversation, when she hears about how far you've come, she won't just feel regret. She'll feel loss, because she didn't just lose a boyfriend, she lost a once-in-a-lifetime presence. And what do? Nothing. You keep moving. You don't gloat. You don't post cryptic messages. You don't drop subtle hints hoping she sees. You live fully, quietly, powerfully, and your absence becomes heavier than your presence ever was. Number 8, build a new identity in shadow. You don't evolve in public. You rebuild in the dark, quietly, relentlessly, without applause. That's where real transformation happens, not in the comments, not in the story views, not on the timeline. It happens in silence when no one is watching and you've got nothing left to prove. You want to crush her ego. Stop trying to be seen. Start becoming someone worth missing. This is where most men lose the game. They want her to notice the grind. They want her to regret in real time. So they post updates. They drop hints. They signal the change. But that's not strength. That's performance. And performance is weakness. You don't need her to see your growth. You need to grow so profoundly that when her friends mention your name, she barely recognizes it. You don't become a better version of the man she left. You become someone she couldn't even imagine leaving in the first place. Build in the dark, sharpen in silence. You don't chase the spotlight, you let the spotlight chase you. Number 9, let her watch from afar. You don't need to block her, you don't need to hide. Let her watch from a distance she can't cross. That's where the real sting is. You're not being petty, you're being precise, calculated. You've rebuilt, you've detached, you've become unreachable, and now she gets to witness the version of you she never believed would exist. But she watches as an outsider, no longer part of the story, just an audience to the glow-up she can't touch. Here's the truth. People crave what they can no longer control. When you were available, she took your presence for granted. Now she has to witness what she lost, and that's where her ego begins to crumble. And you don't flaunt it. You don't drop thirst traps, cryptic captions, or passive-aggressive jabs. You post your mission, your mindset, your results, not for her, for you, because now your life isn't a response, it's a revolution. She will notice, maybe not today, maybe not next week, but eventually she'll scroll, she'll hear, she'll wonder, and when she does, the silence will hit different, not because you're gone, but because you've evolved, and she's not invited to the second chapter. Number 10, forgive for power. Not peace. Forgiveness isn't weakness. It's not letting her off the hook. It's not pretending she didn't cut you deep. Forgiveness is power. It's the final flex. It's you saying you no longer have access. You no longer have control. You no longer matter. And nothing breaks the ego more than someone who was supposed to hate you, simply not caring. But understand this, you don't forgive her for her. You forgive to set yourself free, because every ounce of resentment you carry is a chain keeping you tied to her. And that's exactly what her ego wants, to keep you spinning in that loop, angry, obsessed, stuck. But a stoic man doesn't do loops. He walks forward, not because it's easy, but because he refuses to let someone else rent space in his mind. So you forgive. You don't reach out. You don't wait for closure. You don't check if she's watching. You forgive and vanish, quietly, unapologetically. She expected a grudge. She expected fire. She expected you to crash. But you gave her grace. And that's the moment she breaks. Because she didn't just lose a man, she lost a man who outgrew her silently. Final message. Outro, you made it to the end, and that alone says something. You're not here to chase, you're not here to beg, you're not even here to get even, you're here to evolve. This wasn't about her, it never really was. It was about you, remembering who the hell you are when the noise fades and the masks fall off. You thought no contact was the move. Now you know better. Becoming untouchable, that's the real power move. So let her wonder, let her scroll, let her drown in the silence you command. While she plays games, you play chess. While she chases attention, you chase meaning. And while she looks back, you look forward. This is your era, built on silence, driven by focus, protected by unshakable self-respect. Carry it with discipline, live it with action, and never again let anyone confuse access with value. You're not bitter, you're not broken, you're reborn. If you felt that, if you're ready to keep rising, tap that like button, subscribe to Stoicism, turn on notifications, and comment below. I rise with silence and power, and always remember, she didn't lose you when she walked away. She lost you when you never looked back.